Welcome back, DoomTubers. Doomwaves here, and today we're going to talk about my backlog once again. It's of course the end of quarter. It's June 30th today. It's the last day of June, and I don't foresee myself finishing any games today, so I will go ahead and do this video. I actually said I didn't foresee myself finishing any games a couple of days ago, but then I finished one last night. I finished Vi. So of course that's on this list too, but we'll go ahead and run down the whole list here. I finished 20 games in since April 1st. April 1st to June 30th, I finished 20 games. That's a ton. That means I've finished 39 games since the beginning of the year. Because last quarter I of course finished 19, and this one I finished 20. So let's start off here. Several first-person shooters to start it off. I finished Heretic on the PC. I didn't talk too much about it. Heretic. It's absolutely amazing. It's a first-person shooter, medieval Doom. It's a great game. I can't recommend it enough. I mean, if you like Doom and you're a fan of medieval type stuff, with wizards and monsters and stuff like that. It's definitely a game you should check out, especially if you like the way the Doom plays, because this plays just like that. Quake for the PC, the first time I ever finished Quake 1. Absolutely loved it, but I didn't like it as much as Doom. I liked the 3D, but I just wasn't a fan of the color schemes, and of course I'm just not a big fan of polygon graphics, or like the big blocky looking polygons. So I didn't love the first Quake as much as I love Doom, but it's still amazing. Very eerie game, kind of scary at times even. Very, very good. And just because I don't prefer it as much as Doom does not mean that I think it any less of a game. It is still absolutely amazing. Speaking of amazing, number 22, or 3 in this quarter, we'll just go number 22 since the beginning of the year. Halo 3 on the Xbox 360. Absolutely loved Halo 3, of course. I finished Halo Reach, and Halo 2 in the last quarter, so of course I went ahead and finished Halo 3. I didn't get to finish Halo 4. I'm kind of in the middle of it right now with Pierce Jedi here on YouTube. We're playing co-op, and yeah, I think we're about halfway though, but he's beaten it several times before. Just need to get back to that sometime. Number 23, I finished Quake 2 on the Xbox 360. This was a really great port of Quake 2. Preferred, actually. I have the N64 version and the PlayStation version, and actually I haven't put in the PlayStation version yet. I might do that sometime, just because I like to compare versions of id games just to see how they stack up with one another. The N64 version is okay. Once again, if you can get used to the N64 controller, it's still a great port, very playable. And I've heard that the PlayStation version is not quite as good as the PC or the N64, or even the Xbox 360 version, which came as a pack-in bonus with Quake 4 when I bought that. Number 24, Enemy Territory Quake Wars on the Xbox 360. Pretty cool, objective-based first-person shooter. I wasn't going crazy about it, but it's a good game. I liked it. Number 25, Coda Princess for the 3DS. The first game I played on the 3DS, actually, when I picked it up. And it's a fantastic game. It's by Atlas, and it's just your like a brawler, like a beat 'em up type game. Really good, pretty decent story. Really great graphics, and the voice acting was pretty good too. And very funny story too. So it's worth a shot if you could find it for fairly cheap. I wouldn't spend crazy amounts on it, but I think I picked mine up for 30 new. So it's worth it. To me, it's worth $30. Number 26, I finished Super Mario Brothers for the first time. I actually bought it on the 3DS eShop, played through it, beat both quests, played it twice. Used save states, absolutely loved it. I can never beat it on the NES or the Super NES, just because it wasn't good enough, and I didn't have the save state, so it took me way too long to beat it, but I did play it finally, and I did beat it finally. Number 27, Raiden on the Atari Jaguar. Raiden. Loved it. Raiden's a great game, and it's a great port on the 360. The Jaguar. I personally am a big fan of the Jaguar controller. I know a lot of people aren't, but I am. And yeah, it played really well. It was a great game. And followed that up with Iron Soldier, also on the Atari Jaguar. It's a first-person mech shooter. Really fun. Once again, polygon graphics make it less than awesome in some ways, but it was still a really fun game. Number 29, New Super Mario Brothers on the DS. Loved it. It's a great new Super Mario Brothers game. You know, it's 2D platformer. You know, in the same vein as the original, just, you know, really updated and lots of fun. Then I followed that up with Dust and Elysian Tale for the Xbox Live Arcade. I cannot recommend this game enough. Dust is an amazing game. I think it's on Steam also. So if you don't have an Xbox 360 but you do have a PC, get this game. It is fantastic. It's a platformer, hack and slash, you know, Metroidvania style. Lots of exploration, lots of cool upgrades, and it's a lot of fun. A great story, fantastic story. Next up, I started the rest of my Super Mario Mania. I beat Super Mario Brothers, Lost Levels, Super Mario World, Super Mario Brothers 3, back to back to back. And I did a Mario Mania video, so I won't need to talk about that. And not only that, but I don't need to talk about Super Mario Brothers that much anyway. Legend of Zelda, I downloaded that also on the 3DS eShop. I've beaten it in the past, but it was just cool to be able to play it on my 3DS. And Super Mario Brothers 2, and then I beat Quake 3 Revolution on the Quake 3 Revolution on the PS2. Loved it. I love the multiplayer Quake. I'm really thinking about downloading Quake 3 Arena on my PC and trying my hand in using the mouse, keyboard. I'm really bad at it, but I think with some practice I could get used to it. And yeah, it's just a really good game, and it's available on Steam, and I'd like to be able to actually play competitively. And I've also thought about downloading it on the Xbox Live Arcade. We'll see what happens. Number 37, Red Faction Armageddon. This game I haven't done a video on yet. I probably will sometime. I'm probably going to buy the DLC, which includes another campaign. And that's kind of how I've been waiting for it, waiting to do the video. I absolutely loved Red Faction Armageddon. Really, really good game. Very addicting. I beat it twice. I beat it, and then I beat New Game Plus when I beat it a second time. And yeah, I just had a ton of fun with that. Number 38, I beat Hexen on the PC. Awesome game. Hard as nails. Very hard, very puzzly. Very good game. Watch a review or something of Hexen if you want to know what kind of game it is, because it's really hard for me to describe. It's really good. It's Doom. It's Heretic, but with a lot more puzzles and stuff like that. It's very hard, very satisfying once you finish the levels and then ultimately finish the game. Very rewarding. And number 39, the last game that I beat, number 20 officially, is Vi or Vey, however you want to say it, for the Sega CD, but I actually played it on iOS, and I just did a video on that last night, so it is my last upload, so go check that out, because it's a fantastic game, and it's only like $2 or $3 on iOS, compared to, I think, $40 for a complete copy of the game for the Sega CD, and then also you need a Sega CD in order to play it. And actually, for me, I would also need a Model 1 Genesis in order to play it too, because or Model 1 or Model 2, because I have a Model 3. So, yeah, I would need to purchase a lot of hardware on top of an expensive game to actually play this on the Sega CD, but maybe someday. That's it. That's the 20 games that I beat in the second quarter of 2013. I kind of blasted through that, but what do you want? You want me to make this a 30-minute video talking about some games that I've already talked about? So now, to pick 3 games as my top 3 of this quarter, and I haven't thought about this yet. I'm gonna have to go through these just a little bit here on camera, and we'll go ahead and say right away that I'm gonna pick Vey as one of them. Vey or Vi, however you say it. It's the only turn-based RPG that I beat in the second quarter, and it might actually be the only turn-based RPG I've beaten this year. Wow, I think it is actually. Wow. Okay. So Vey is one of them, and oh man, I've played some good stuff this quarter. It's going to be really tough. Red Faction Armageddon. Oh man, this is tough. It's really a toss-up between Halo 3 and Dust. I'm going to have to go with Dust, though. As much as I loved Halo 3, fantastic game, I think Dust tops it. So that's Vey, Red Faction Armageddon, and Dust and Elysian Tale for my top 3 of the second quarter. Man, that was a lot tougher to choose than I thought it would be. I played some good stuff. Lots of Mario, but whatever. Okay, now moving forward. I've pretty much just thrown my summer backlog challenge in the dumpster because there's a lot of games that I want to play that aren't on there, but some of these are still on there. So I guess if I finish, 5 of those we'll still consider it a success. But like I said, moving forward, we'll talk about some games that I'm playing right now, and a few games that I maybe like to play in the next few months. The third quarter, of course, is July, August, and September, which encompasses the rest of the summer backlog challenge. I think that actually ends on September 1st. Maybe it's September 30th. I don't know. It's not. I probably won't be doing an update on that necessarily, but maybe. Who knows? It's still a couple months or 3 months away. So we'll talk about some games I'm playing right now, and then some games I'm looking forward to. So I've got a stack of 8 games here, 4 of which I'm playing, and then 4 of which I might get to. I might play, and who knows? It's all subject to change based on games that I pick up or just how I'm feeling. So first and foremost here, I'm playing E7 for the PSP. This is a fantastic game. I'm in the Fire Shrine right now. I think I'm about maybe close to 6 hours into this game. It's a beautiful game. It's absolutely awesome. It's kind of tough for me to play this quite a bit because my PSP battery sucks so much, so I have to play it in spurts, and then occasionally I just don't want to mess with taking my PSP away from the charger, so I pretty much just play it when I'm laying in bed. But if I need to get a new battery at some point so I can actually play for extended periods of time. That's actually kind of how I got hooked on Vey, because I wanted to play E7, but I just didn't want to mess with the battery, so I just played Vey, and then I got hooked and beat it. So next up is BioShock. This is an amazing game too. It's kind of tough for me because I'm not used to scavenging and survival horror elements. I know it's not really a survival horror game, but there's actually some stuff that kind of freaks me out. Namely the Houdini splicers. Those things freaked me out last night. I was actually kind of scared, and I think that's the first time that's ever happened in a video game for me, that I was actually a little freaked out by them. But it's an awesome game. It's really tough for me to conserve ammunition. So this is probably a good indicator that I probably am not going to be like that into like the Resident Evil games, if I already thought that I wanted to be. Warhammer 40k Space Marine. I love this game. It's a third-person shooter, very over-the-top. Destruction and stuff like that, but the story itself takes itself pretty seriously, but that's alright. I'm pretty new to the Warhammer 40k stuff, the lore and the universe in general, but I really like it. I actually would like to play maybe some more of these games. Unfortunately, most of the Warhammer games are RTS games, which I'm really bad at. Warhammer in general, Warhammer and Warhammer 40k, they are different. They're mostly RTS games, but who knows? Maybe I'll try to get into them later. I used to have one of them, and I just was horrible at it, so I got rid of it to a good friend, and hopefully he's enjoying it. But this one is a third-person shooter, and I think there's actually a first-person shooter on the PS2 called Fire Warrior. I've heard it's not as good, but I still like to play it because, yeah, it's Warhammer 40k, and I think I'd like to collect some more of these games. I really thought about trying to collect some of the miniatures too, just to display, but those things are kind of expensive. And then lastly, the last game that I'm playing right now, actively playing, I've got dozens of games actually started, is Ratchet and Clank, the first one. I just got this in a package from Sporadic Spacebar, but I did go ahead and start this the other night. It's the kind of game that I think I want right now. Just a very funny, very fun, over-the-top game that's just, run around and shoot stuff, and experience the story and experience the environment. So it's definitely the kind of game that I'm in the mood for right now. I've played a lot of serious stuff lately, and it's time to play something just a bit more fun. So not that those other ones aren't fun, but fun as in like happy, kind of. So Ratchet & Clank is the ticket. Okay, that's the games that I'm actually kind of playing right now. Ratchet & Clank, I just barely scratched the surface of. I'm on like the second world or something like that. But I'm playing it. I'm planning on playing it very soon. Let me go ahead and grab this one, and grab this one too. These games are, of course, tentative. One of them I'm actually playing that I should go ahead and mention, Halo 4. I'd like to go ahead and get back to that with Pierce Jedi eventually, as soon as we both get a chance to play. I'd like to go ahead and finish that one. So that one goes with the currently playing ones also. And then I actually picked up one more, so I've got five games here. One of which that I probably will get to sooner than later just because it's a borrowed game. It's the first Deus Ex game for the PlayStation 2. It's got a EB cover, so I won't show that. But it's the first Deus Ex Human Conspiracy on the PlayStation 2. I recently heard or watched some YouTube videos and people were talking up this game, and the Deus Ex series seems like a series that I really should get into. So Haas let me borrow this one to kind of introduce me to the series and see if I would be into it. So there it is. Next up, I like to play the first Red Faction because I just picked this one up recently, and I love Red Faction Armageddon so much. And I know that this is quite different. This is a first-person shooter, and I know that it's a quite different game than Armageddon, but I still want to experience it. I just really think that I'll be into all of the lore and the story behind the rest of the Red Faction games. So I have them all now, actually. 1 and 2, and then Guerrilla and Armageddon. So there we go. And of course, the next tentative game is one that I'm about 11, 12 hours into Ni no Kuni. After playing Vey, I really just have this strong urge to play this game. Like, I really want to. Like I said, I'm about 10, 11, 12, I don't remember exactly how many hours into it, but I really want to get back to this. And I'm kind of getting in the mood for some more RPGs. Vey really set it off for me, so this one I think will be a really good jumping off point once again into the turn-based RPGs. Excuse me, turn-based RPGs. The last two, once again, tentative. I'm looking forward to 2 or 3 months, and I would like to play The Last of Us. Devil May Pie hooked me up with this one. Very appreciative of that, man. Once again, thank you, Danny. And everybody is talking about this game, and it's something that I need to get to pretty soon so I can be in the loop. And last but certainly not least is Fire Emblem Awakening. Just picked this up recently. I played it a little bit. I played it a little bit more. Played it a little bit when I first got it. I played a little bit more the other night, and one of my characters died, and I actually got a game over, which was just weird. I think it was the Crom, I think is his name, the main guy who died. So apparently, when he dies, you get a game over. So there you go. That's tentatively a game that I might want to get to in the next couple of months. Okay, this video's gone long enough. 19 minutes into it. Finished a ton of games in the second quarter. Hopefully I can finish a bunch in the third quarter too, just to kind of keep on par with what I've already done so far this year. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Doomwaves out.